Are you able to see my screen? Or maybe you're all muted. Uh, uh, just raise your hand or chat. Okay, yes. Okay, all right. Yeah, fine. Okay. I'm starting to over. Hi, this is Pawan Krishna from BSP Training, and BSP is an certified a gold partner to the Oracle. It just connects with EPM, CPM, CRM, data analytics consulting experts. And today, we are going through an overview of an EPRCS, which is called as an IT reporting, which is a current name, which is given to the EPRCS. Well, at the inception, I mean, it was an EPRCS, and from October release, I think, I mean, the name has changed to the IT reporting based on the business, I mean, what the nature of this product. I mean, since it all deals with the narrative part, it's just given a name as narrative reporting. All right, so this is today's agenda. We're going through the product overview. We'll go through what is a report package, management report, smart view report, notes and the book. So these two are the new enhancements to the product. And we also have a disclosure management. All right. Okay, so before we get into the product, so let's talk about means what are the current challenges, I mean, why we have this product and what is the necessary or need of this particular product in the current business market. Okay, before we get into the challenges, so let's talk about what actually does this narrative reporting do, or what is a narrative reporting. All right, so narrative reporting is a report which contains or combines the data and the narrative content within that. Let's say there are several reports like the annual report, quarterly, half-yearly reports. There could be some reports which should be open to the public, like a public disclosure, or it could be some regulatory reports, and there could be some reports which needed in the business related, or it could be an internal which should be sent to some stakeholders based on the monthly updates and all. All right. So so here, I mean, I just downloaded a annual report of an ICICI bank, which contains around 300 pages. And so let's, I mean, just have a glance at looking what it contains actually. I mean, what and what are the challenges, to create this particular report. I see some raise in the hand. Okay, all right. Sorry about that. Okay, so now it contains a cover page. All right, so we just have some images within that, and there is some text. Okay, and there is the logo of this bank, and here it is the content. So which contains, I mean, what pages and what content is within this particular 300-page report. All right, so here we have the statistical numbers. I mean, how many ATMs, branches, so whatever the messages, I mean, they want to provide in their annual report. So it's there. I mean, it just contains the graphs, it contains images. This is the images, and there are the messages from the chairman. All right. So these are all the content part, and when we get into the financial statement, so which is at 140, and we just directly jump into 140. So here we have this balance sheet in the financial statements of this is a bank. I mean, this looks, quite black and white, but I mean, there are some of the banks, I mean, which, and of course, I mean, we can make this a colored, I mean, more formatting based on, I mean, how you want to present it in the annual report. So it contains these tables with the actual data, and there are notes or the schedules, I mean, for each and every financial report. All right, and there are some notes describing, I mean, what is that. So here, these are the notes which shows like what this particular table is talking about. So when you look at this, I mean, one particular note, it includes revolutionary gain amounting it to 249.1 million rupees. All right, and this particular value has come from this particular table. So there are several such kind of tables, and the narrative part which describes about the table. All right, so this is a combination of both the data or the tables and as well as the content. All right. So now let's get into the content and let's see. I mean, this is a 300-page document. Let's assume, I mean, how much time and how many people need to get involved in order to create this 300-page document. All right. So it, let's say, I mean, there are 3 or 4 groups, and let's say there's an HR group which collects the messages from the chairman, MD, CEO, and whatever. So whatever may be the content, so one group will be collecting, and all the financial data, other group will be collecting and preparing that notes. All right, and there are some auditors report. So they are respective. I mean, there are several departments involved and several groups involved in order to create this particular annual report, which is of 300 page. I mean, it's just a 300 page. I mean, there could be more than 300, and some, I mean, based on the organization, I mean, how much they want to disclose their content. So based on that, so the number of pages will be decreased or increased or more than this. All right. So these are the current challenges. Now let's assume there are 5 groups within, and they are preparing this. Okay, let's say uh, from pages 1 to 10, so it's been assigned to me. Okay, I mean, boss, I mean, you go and get this particular content done. I mean, you go to the CEO or MD and get the message and you prepare it. Okay, I mean, I'll go, I mean, I write in my own format. I'll have different styles, left and right margins and different header and footers. I like the same way. I mean, if it is sent to a different groups, I mean, they prepare it in their own format and the style. And also, so that is one challenge. So when we club together, I mean, there is a lack of inconsistency, right? So all the different groups prepare in their own style, and when it clubbed together as a single unit, so it looks very weird. I mean, we can't disclose this particular report to any public, right? So that is one particular challenge. And the second challenge is, I mean, so we don't have a track of uh, who and where and why they are doing it. All right. So who is doing it, and when let's say, I mean, I have completed all these 10 pages, so first set of 10 pages over here, and I need to send it to someone for a review. I mean, how would I send it? Now, where do I store? Okay, where I store in a, so also there should be one repository where I can store all these files, I mean, which I have prepared, and someone has to review it, and he has to provide a comment on that. All right, and based on that, so then I have to go and correct it. So there'll be so much of workflow required in order to complete this process of and authoring, reviewing, and uh, getting approval, I mean, of all these documents. So these are the current challenges which we can say, to prepare this 300-page document. So let's get back into the reporting. All right. So these are some of the challenges which are listed. So we have monthly, the quarterly file drill. So even the, let's say, I mean, I have prepared a quarterly report and I send it to stakeholder, right? So I need to drill down. I mean, if the stakeholder or some of the CEO and he want to drill down, I mean, how we get this value. We want to drill down the data element, right, and see, I mean, how what is the schedule? I mean, how we got this particular value into that, and why, if let's say, I mean, we have a comparison with the earlier quarter or earlier month, and why we have a difference of this. All right, so we have a drill down of all the data elements. So even that cannot happen. I mean, when we create this document, I mean, with the data and only the narrative part, you can't drill down the data elements. I mean, you just have a copy paste of a table from one of the source into a Word document or a PDF document, right? And the foot is all manual. All right, so individuals, so I need to split that particular doclets, I mean, based on the number of pages, and give it to the group, and then they'll prepare it manually, and then the collaboration and cooperation, it's all very inefficient. All right, and errors or more when we combine. So when we combine the data, let's say, I mean, I've done the 10 pages, the other group will go with 20 or 30 pages, and then I need to collate with these 2 documents and then the other group. So when we combine all this data, so there is a possibility of having an errors where we don't know, I mean, what is a joining, point, like let's say at the 10th page, I mean, I'm halfway done, so it comes into the half the page, and we're not sure like whether the 11th page, I mean, who has done with another group has to start in the different page, or it has to collate or continue where the 10th page has ended. So there were so many who, when, why, and where need to be placed. So there are so many rendering errors happen when you do it manually. And also organization lacks the ability to analyze the data. I mean, as I said, the drill down thing. So I mean, they cannot analyze when you compared to the previous data. So they cannot do any analysis of how we got that value for the current period, right? Insufficient collaboration. So, I mean, since there are so many people involved, so we don't have a track of it, and we don't know what is status of that particular group of people who are working on. I mean, what is the percentage of work done, completed, and if it is gone for a review, or is it still an author who is making some changes and all. All right. So these are the challenges, I mean, which a customer will be facing in order to do that, and we all can make use of night reporting so that I mean that will erase all these challenges. Okay, so let's get into the night reporting. So it just spans the whole organization. So what it contains, so when we talk about the reports, I mean, what reports? So based on the different business, so there are different reports which they create. Let's say for the airlines, I mean, the report is called a report 41, and if we ask the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, so that there are some different utilities. So project funding approvals, capital project approvals. So these are the different types of reports where a different organization based on the business, so they'll be preparing these reports. So here we have some internal or the disclosed and public disclosed annual reports quarterly, and the regulatory reports. Regulatory reports are something where the reports which need to be used for filing the US government based on the standards like the SEC or IFRS standards. So those are the regulatory reports. So these are different kind of reports, I mean, which narrative reporting deals with. And so just coming to the product, so we just launched in May 2015, and so far we have 750 customers to date who are using this narrative reporting or has already been used it, and they are still continuing it. And 50,000 plus end users, and it is still growing. So we have a vast marketing happening for the narrative reporting. And it was built in over 15 years of product innovation. So these analysts, I mean, they go into, I mean, each and every business, I mean, try to analyze, I mean, what data is required, I mean, what the challenges they are facing, and then they have built this particular night reporting product. So they approach a different industry. So it is used in different industry like financial services, banking, higher education services, manufacturing, public sector, and many more. All right, and Oracle gives a 24/7 support globally with respect to any of the cloud tool. All right, so even for the night reporting. All right, so here, I mean, what now we have seen, I mean, what are the current challenges, and we have this night reporting. Now let's see, I mean, what it gives and what it contains in night reporting. So it just gives a solution for management and night reporting. So when you say management, we can say it as a financial report. All right, and night reporting is something we can say which contains both the data and the narrative part of it. All right, so it provides a secure, collaborative, and process-driven approach. Why I'm saying this is a secure collaborative. So it just contains so much of processing, I mean, where you define these particular docklets. So you'll come to know what is a docklet. A docklet is a path. It could be a one page or a more than one page of a document. We call it as docklet in narrative reporting. So we define these docklets and we start this. I mean, we have a development life cycle where we have three phases, like an author phase, review phase, and the sign-off phase. Where the author, I mean, when we define this process, so then author will chimp in and he'll pick up his docklet, I mean, where he's been assigned to, and he'll start working on that, and then he'll submit it for the review. So we have a reviewing, and the latter we have a sign-off. We'll provide a sign-off, as I said, like sign off in the sense at the total report package level for the whole 300-page document. He'll provide a sign off, and that is ready for publishing. All right. So what it makes, I mean, it enables you to combine data and narrative. It collaborate securely and confidently report. So we'll just go through, I mean, what are those combined data and narrative. So the combined data and narrative, I mean, it not only combines data and narrative in order to create only the annual report, it also enables you to create a regulatory or a statutory reporting, which is used for filing, all right, to the US government. As I said, it could be different format, or it could be different standard. Either your company, I mean, you're giving it to the XCC standard, or based on the IFRS standard. I mean, you file it and you create those statutory reports and you file it to the government. All right, and it will manage through. I mean, as I said, it's a process driven, so we have an authoring and collaboration and everything like review and all. I, and there is a commentary in the sense, let's say, I mean, I'm doing a review and I can provide some comments on that. Okay, this particular statement is wrong or this value is wrong. You need to check it, blah blah. So the reviewer can provide a comment and then uh, he can revert that back to the author and there he can make some corrections to the particular data or the content. All right, and these are all maintained in a report package. All right, so we'll have a report package in the narrative reporting. It also provides capability of higher end dimension analysis. As I said, the analysis of the data, either you compare it with the previous year or previous period, or you compare or you see, you make a drill down of the particular data and say, I mean, what it makes to, summation of all these elements into your totaling. All right. All right, collaborate securely, as I said. So since we have seen a 300-page document, so there are so many people getting involved. It could be, I mean, 5 groups, at least, I mean, 4 or 5 people in one group. So it'll be 20 people involving in that. So it'll be a totally mess. You know, you don't know, I mean, how many people are working on. You don't have a track and whereabouts. Like, I mean, what is the status of this? Whether it's been done in the author and whether it's been submitted for the review and all. So you don't have. I mean, you cannot. Collate, and also there is a possibility that one group or any one person may not need to see the data, I mean, which is in other document. All right, so we need to make that secure. All right, the secure over here, it comes into the picture. I mean, let's say out of this 300-page document, and I have created some 10 docklets. Docklets in the sense I have divided those 300 into 10 sections. Okay. Now, one particular docklet is assigned. I mean, 2 of the docklets are assigned to me, and 3 of the docklets are assigned to one person. So when I log in to that particular report package, I can only see the docklets which are assigned to me only. I mean, not the whole, not all the 10 docklets. All right. So that's how, I mean, though it's a collaboration of all the multiple people, but again, it's secured based on, I mean, what content or what access is given to you in order to get the work done. And so you'll be restricted to view other docklets and what is the content within that. If let's say if it is an a a public disclosure, then it's okay, fine. But it is something internal where only the business have to know, I mean, not the people who are working on the content, then yes, that is totally secure, where only he can only access his own document and not the data anymore. All right. So here we have a owner who is called a report package owner. So he'll assign it to the individual authors, and we have an approver and a reviewer who will be jumping in. And once they give and approving with the review part, and it goes to the signer, and he'll provide a final sign off saying, okay, this particular document is ready to publish, or this particular report is ready to publish it to the stakeholder or to any other parties. All right, and confidently report. So when I say confidently report, so some organizations maintain, I mean, only one data source when we can pull the data and create all those reports. Okay, and some of the organizations, I mean, have let's say, I mean, different entities in a different organization, and those entities maintain a different data source. Now, how will you collate with that? So here it comes to the picture where this narrative reporting, it deals with the multiple data sources, and it can create one single report by maintaining integration with multiple data sources. All right, so it could be any kind of a data source, so it just integrates it with that and then collect. And again, so any kind of data source in the sense, so it has some restrictions. So where a supported data source, let's say for that integration, it integrates with all the EPM cloud services, it integrates with the Nest-based cloud, it integrates with financial GL data. All right. So there are some of the limitations where when you talk about the integration. So whatever the integration, so it can deal with, so it gets the data from multiple data sources, what get connected, and it can create one single report out of that. Okay, so now we talk about the narrative reporting. I mean, what it can do. And let's say, I mean, what are the tools within this narrative reporting? So from the narrative reporting, we can create a narrative report, which we are talking about the report package and the docklets and everything. And we can create some three types of publishing documents. So one is a Word, one is a PDF, and another one PPT. So mostly any of the organization will prepare their own annual reports or any of the reports in PDF format, right? So here we can also prepare a PDF format kind of a published report, even though we select an MS Word, I mean a Word document style, right? In the sense, so when we create a report package, so it will ask you, I mean, what type of report you're trying to create. All right. So when we select a PPT, the output will be a PPT, and you'll find all these docklets as a PPT docklets. All right. And when you select it as a type as a Word, so we'll have all these MS Word docklets. All right. But when it comes to the publishing part, it will give you an option whether you want this particular Word docklets to publish in the Word or you want it to convert into the PDF. So there is the advantage of having an MS Word report style where it is easy to access or make any changes to the MS Word rather than having a PDF file. All right. So we create all these docklets and everything and images, embed everything into the Word docklet, and then when it's time for the publishing, you publish in a PDF format. All right. So that's about the narrative reporting. So it contains the task, messages, and due date. So we'll deal about that. So far we are saying like it's just a combination of the data and the narrative. So from where that does the data come? All right. So data comes from either it could be a management report. Let me have this. So it could be from a management report, or it can be from Excel supported data sources, which is a smart view. Now here for the whole narrative reporting, a smart view extension, which is a partner to the Oracle, which is a Microsoft product, Microsoft extension, where it plays a very major role when it comes to managing the data and embedding all these data reports in onto the narrative reporting docklets. All right. So that's about the narrative reporting. We create a report package where it contains all the docklets, and we publish that report package in either it could be a Word or PDF or a PPT formats, right? Another one is a management report. The management report is something like an FR, a financial reporting studio, where you'll get a data source and then you create all the reports. You have rows and the columns. You have a POV, so you select, you do all the mapping, the correct mappings in order to get the particular report. All right. It just moreover looks like an FR. Okay, and it deals with, I mean, in order to create this management report or an MR, I mean, we call it as an MR or a management report. Management report is something, as I said, it's just another financial table. But over here, I mean, when we create that particular financial report in the narrative reporting tool, we call it as a management report. All right, and it is created from all the EPM cloud data sources. And let's say, I mean, you already have some data source and you already created some of the financial reports within that data source. Now again, you don't have to create any management report. You can just migrate those financial reports created in the data source onto the management report, and you can make use of those, I mean, leverage or do an import, I mean, export from the FR and importing to the narrative reporting, which acts like an MR. All right, and these MRs, as I said, the data for this narrative part comes from the management report and the smart view. So this comes into the narrative reporting as a reference docklet. So we will come to know, I mean, what is a reference docklet and what is a docklet in our next slides. And the other thing is the disclosure management. I was telling you about the statutory reporting or regulatory reports, where it requires data for the filing based on the standards they're following. So based on the company standards, so there is a taxonomy designer within disclosure management, and we have an XBRL mapping. XBRL is an extended business reporting language where it contains some elements within the XBRL taxonomy based on the standards, like is it an open taxonomy or it is an SEC or it is an IFRS standard. So based on that, we have an XBRLs and the taxonomy, and we map all our financial data to all these any elements, and when we publish it into XBRL or XBRL, so it just deals, or it just creates, converts the whole document into an XML or XBRL standards report, which we can directly send that particular URL or HTML to the SEC, to the filings, and they can just view it, rather than, I mean, it just minimizes the work of a paperwork where you need to, take a printout and do some tally, provide all the signatures, and then you submit it at the filings. So disclosure management does all the filing part. All right, so this let's say, I mean, what you just get deep into the narrative reporting, what it contains. So it just contains the tasks, messages, as I said. So we have seen, like, it can create a narrative reporting. Now this is a report package which creates a narrative reporting, and this is the report which we get a management report, and this is a disclosure management. And the books and the notes are the newly added, the books where we can group all the management reports and the narrative reporting or the report packages into one particular book, and you can print it into a PDF format. And notes is something, an advanced version of a management report, where we can have a notes to a particular grid based on the selection of the POV. So we'll just deal with that notes later on. And we have a library where it contains all the folders, it contains the fonts, it contains the data sources. Now we establish all the integration or establish the connection to other data sources within this library. And the daily maintenance is something, so on a daily basis, at the time what we set at the local time, it just performs a maintenance, a snapshot. You just take the backup of that and then restore it onto the environment. Okay, the access control, it gives the details of the users, what users have what roles, and what they're up to. All right, and the appearance is something, I mean, or if you want to change, I mean, there is a blue background over here, and if you want to change the background, you want to change the font style and everything, you just get into this appearance and you can change according to what color you like. And Academy is something, it's a kind of a tutorial where you can go through, I mean, it's a tour kind of videos, I mean, where we get on what is required as if you're a user, I mean, what do you need to do, and if you're an admin, and what are your activities. So you get videos, a tutorial kind of a thing in Academy. And this is a dashboard where it just gives you an incomplete task. So tasks, when I say, if let's say you're an author and one of the documentaries are sent to you in order to get this work done. All right. So as soon as any of the tasks are sent to you, so you get a notification over here, task, and also I get it if there is an incoming task pending over here. All right, so this is the task, and the messages is something if you're performing any of the actions. Let's say you are trying to migrate, you're trying to download, you're trying to upload any of the artifacts into the web, then it gives some. So all these actions will run in the background, and the system will give you a message over here, like, so this is a particular action, or this is the action, I mean, which you have performed has been performed successfully, or it's been failed due to some error. All right, so that's about the error. And also you like to flag some messages, you also can flag it, and if there are any active report packages, you can directly get into the active report packages which you're working on. So when you say create over here, it will directly link to the report package, so it just creates a report package. So rather than getting into over here and create a new one, so there's a shortcut, and here's also a shortcut to open the library, and here's a tool for the Academy. All right, so that is what is in the narrative reporting, and here are the users and the roles. So these are the system defined roles where you have a service administrator, so you can perform everything except the user management. The user management is done by the identity domain administrator, where you can create users and assign some particular roles to it, assign these roles to it. Okay. Application administrator. So application administrator, again, I mean, there was an application feature available until July 2019, but right now, I mean, the application has been taken off from the EPRCS or the native reporting. So the application is something where you can create your own cube, and let's say, I mean, you don't have a data source, you're not unable to connect to it in data sources, and you want to maintain a data source within the native reporting, then you can create your own cube with the dimensions. You can load your data and the metadata into this application, and you can create reports out of it. Uh, uh, I'll be happy. I mean, if everyone please keep in mute. All right, and this is the report administrator, so we'll have access to create report packages, and as well as the library administrator, he can grant access to other users. I mean, what library here they need to have access to. And as a user, so based on, I mean, what role is given to you or what artifact has been assigned to you, then you would be viewing only that particular artifact. Hi, could you please keep your mic on mute? All right. Okay. Now these are the users. So now we can create the user groups like a service administrator, power user, and the user. So based on, I mean, what activity, I mean, that particular user is going to perform. So power user is something you get all the roles. So you can create a report package, create a management report, disclosure management, and everything. A user is someone, I mean, who can create or work on only the artifact which is assigned to him, and a viewer is a user where he can only view that particular artifact which has been assigned to him, and he cannot perform any action on that particular artifact. All right. Okay. Let's come to the integration. So as telling, so integration over here in narrative reporting, it integrates the data and narrative part. So narrative part, anyhow, I mean, we are creating in a Word document. So we create or we put, I mean, what is the narrative of the particular, let's say, the messages from the chairman, or it could be anything, or it can be a narrative based on the report as well. All right. So that's narrative. We can do it in the Word. And how about the data? Like, so as I told you, a smart view plays a very vital role over here. So it just integrates with an MS Office via SmartView extension. So we can access all these Word or a PPT or a PDF kind of report packages using a SmartView extension. So what you need to do is you need to establish or you download the SmartView extension in your Word MS Office, and you can integrate, you can directly integrate it with the narrative reporting as well as any of the data sources. So like that, so if there are any other applications, let's say when it comes to direct integration, so the narrative reporting web, it can only integrate with only the EPM cloud services, for example, the planning and the budgeting, PBCS, EPBCS, FCCS, and the tax reporting. And as I said, it's a SBS cloud and PCMCS. It's a fusion application, could be a general ledger cloud, and also it integrates with an SBS on-premise as well. Okay, now these are the data sources which the narrative reporting can directly integrate. Now let's say, I mean, I have or a company have another data source which is not one of these interfaces, right? Not or one of these cloud services. Okay, I have something else, let's say OBIE, where a smart view can integrate with an OBIE. So the smart view, it can integrate with the OBIE, pull the data from OBIE or a different data source, and it can build the reports, and you can use those reports within that particular Excel into the narrative web interface. We'll see, I mean, how will that happen? Okay. All right. So let's say see what is a report package. So I mean, I just don't want to get into more into that. So this is a glance of a report package, how it looks like. So as we have seen, an ICICI Bank 300-page document. Now as split. No, these are all the doclets. So doclets, as I said, it could be a one page or more than one page. Now I've set a one doclet as a cover page, another doclet is the table of content. These are all the sections. So I can add sections. So section is a group of all the doclets which belong to which I want to see it in one particular folder, just like a folder, right? So the third one is the financial revenue report, the financial consolidation statement. So like that, so now I create all these reports, sorry, these docklets. So I just split the whole 300-page document into all these docklets. Now I can assign, or I can start the report development life cycle, which is an author phase, review phase, and the sign off phase. And I can start an author phase, and then I can assign. Uh, there is a question. I'll deal with all the questions at the end. I'll give you 15 minutes of the time at the end. We'll just deal with all the questions. Okay, so once I break down all the 300-page document into the docklets. Now, when I start the author phase, now I'll assign, so this particular 3, 4, and 5 belongs to the financial group. I'll assign this to user 1, user 2, and the user 3, and they start creating all those reports. So here are some of the tabs. So this is called a report center. Now, this is the report center where it displays what are all the docklets and the sections, what it contains, on how you're displaying it. And this is a variable. This X over here, it shows a variable. It contains a static and the reference variable. We'll just deal with that in the next slides. And here is a preview. Now let's say I have completed the 3, 4, and 5, and 6 and 7. I just want to do a preview of only the docklet 3. So I can just drop down this and do a preview of this particular docklet. Or if I want to preview the whole section like 3, 4, and 5, how it looks like, and I can do a preview. Or if I want to preview at a package level, then I can preview it at a package level over here, or I can press the preview over here. All right, and this is a distribution where at any point of time, let's say some of the stakeholders, they say, okay, this is a long way process. Now, if this report package creation or publishing has been scheduled for over 2 months, okay, or 1 month, let's say. Now, the stakeholder will ask, no, I want the status of the progress, not only the progress, about the content as well at each and every week. All right, now I enable this distribution, and I'll assign this particular distribution job to the stakeholder, and then I can push this particular distribution so that the whole package, the whole content will be sent an email as a link to the particular stakeholder, and then he can just download or view the particular content. I mean, see whereabouts about the report package. All right, so that's about the distribution. And here we see the docklet. So as I said, the docklet is a one or the more number of pages of the different type of a report package what we create. If it is a Word, if it is, this will be a Word docklet. If it's a PPT, it is a PPT docklet or a PDF, right? So, and within this docklet, so there is another main important concept called as reference docklet, which is a reference docklet is something where it contains the data tables. Let's say, as I told you earlier, so now we have seen the management report and the smart view reports. Okay, so these management report, when we create a management report, and I want to utilize or make that particular report or utilize that particular report into the financial consolidation. I have created a consolidated balance sheet in the management report, and I want to use it over here in this particular docklet. Now, this can be a reference document. This is a reference document which contains that particular report, and I can do an embed that particular report into this document. So when I say embedding, so there will be a link between these two, the reference document and the table within this particular finance consolidation balance sheet table. So whenever there is a change or whenever there is data refresh happen in the reference table, the embedded content will also get refreshed. Let's say the consolidated balance sheet, it just contains the total income, let's say $9 million. Okay, and there was a change in the data, and there was an update in the data, and then it turned into $10 million. Okay, and that $10 million will be seen it over here without making any extra actions, because I mean this already been embedded and it's all is linked. So whenever if this reference document is been refreshed, so wherever the reports we are using these reports in the reference document onto any of the documents will also get automatically refreshed. All right, so that is a concept of a reference document. So it not only takes a management report as a reference documents. It also takes a SmartView report as a reference document. As I said, a SmartView can also go beyond integration with other data sources as well, where we can pull the report and then establish a connection with the EPRCS, and then we can use that Excel reports as a reference document over here in the report package. All right, so this is I was telling about the development life cycle. So it contains an author phase, review phase, and a sign-off phase. So author, as I said, so we can set the timelines to the author phase. So when I enable this author phase, I'll say, okay, no, this is the content, and these are the number of people who will be working on the whole content. I would give a timeline of 2 to 3 weeks, for this author phase. Now I start on today and end the author phase down the line after 2 weeks, and I'll start the review phase the day next to the end of the author phase, and I'll start the review phase, and I say, okay, I give it a 1 week for the review, and again, so after end of the review phase, and I'll enable. So this enablement of the report development lifecycle before the work starts. So now I set the timelines to each and every phases, and I set the timeline for the sign off phase as well for the signer for 2 days. So within those 2 days, he need to review the whole document and he provide a sign off. All right, so I'll set the timelines, and then I will start the author phase. So this is how it looks like. So when we look at the total report package, I mean, without enable anything of the report package. So this is a sample of the report package where the development life cycle has not been enabled, or a workflow is not been enabled, and we don't see any author review or any of the phases over here. So once I start, enable these phases and start an author phase. So here it shows we have an author and an approver. So we also have an approver within an author, where once an author is complete, this is the next level of a review, where this approver can review the author's work over here, and if there are any changes, then he can make changes to the particular document. So this is a level before the review, where a reviewer cannot make any changes to the document, but he can just provide the comments. All right. So this is a kind of a level just before the review phase, just before the reviewer. So you can have n number of approvers. So if approver 1 has done it, so if he submits, then if you enable an approver 2, then he also can review and he can make further changes. So it's a level of scanning or doing a testing or reviewing the documents in order to make sure, like when it goes to the review phase, so he'll have to review it, and in order to minimize the comments provided by the reviewer. All right, so this is the author phase, and it also shows the status of how much percentage has been done, so how many have been submitted. So here the tick mark over here, it shows, okay, these documents has been submitted, and this into mark, it shows, okay, this has been rejected by the approver, and it's gone back. So Charlie Liu is an approver. He rejected the document, and the responsibility now is an author, to make correction. So the approver, he can make changes, or he can revert it back to an author, so to make these particular changes, so that the author can do it, or by himself, an approver, he can do the corrections and proceed it to the next level. If there is any approver 2, then he will proceed to the approver 2, or else if he submit this particular document, it goes to the reviewer. All right. So this is about the author. And there are two ways in order to access this. So one is from the web service, you can download. So when I say, we have all these actions. So in order to access this particular table of content, I have to drop down this, and I get an options over here in order to manage document. So I'll just download this, do my changes, and then check out and upload it back. So over here, when it says, here we can see this particular Jacques Picard, there is a lock over here. That meaning, so Jacques Picard has checked out this particular document. So the security comes into the picture. So once any one of the user is accessing this particular document and it's been checked out, so that document will be locked by the particular user, and no other user can make any changes to the particular document. All right, so he can only just view it, but he cannot make it. The other users can view it, but the other users cannot make any changes unless this particular user completes his work and he put it back, or else upload and check in the particular content or whatever the work he's doing it. All right. So, right. So this is one way where you can download and make changes, download into your local machine, make changes and upload it back. And the other way is using a smart view. So as I said, using a smart view, you can connect it to the native reporting and you can access that particular document. So here I'll get the list of all the documents within the report package. So when I click that, so that particular Word document will be open and I can directly make changes over here and I can check out and check it in back onto the web service directly from the smart view. So these are the two ways we can access any of the artifacts within the report package. As I said, so and again, so once the author is done, so he'll submit it to the approver, then approver chips in, he'll review it, he'll make corrections, and then he can either provide his approver or he can reject it, and which goes back to the author. And this is the review phase. As I said, the reviewer, he cannot make any changes, so he can just provide a comment. Now let's say, I mean, when he was reviewing it, so he thought, okay, this is the context where that need to be changed. Now he provide a comment, the comments are awesome, or he totally agree, super cool, blah blah blah, or he can provide a comment like, okay, this need to be changed, or the value over here what you have mentioned is not correct. So there can be an exchange of a chatting between an author and a reviewer over here, and upon a conclusion, if require any changes, then author will chip in and make the particular change, and he can send it back to the reviewer, or he can send it to a next reviewer. So we can also enable different review cycles. So let's assume, I mean, some of the financial components or the artifacts or these documents are very highly confidential and it requires an accuracy and it needs some different levels of a review. Then I'll enable a review cycle 1, a review cycle 2, and review cycle 3. So once review cycle 1 is complete, it go back to the author. He'll get the work done and send it back to the review cycle 2. And review cycle 2 makes a change, do the review, and he can also provide a comment, and then upon his approval, review cycle 3. So like that, so we can enable n number of review cycles, so based on how complexity of the report is and how confidential it is, and then it can proceed further. So until the last review cycle is complete, so he can approve these doclets and he can send it to the signer. So here, this is a kind of a comments on the reviewers over here. So the reviewer, it can be a one or more user, because and I create a set of users. Okay, I mean, it cannot be like, let's say, I mean, if it is an author and it's assigned to me, then I'm responsible in order to get that work done. And if it is a reviewer, a reviewer can have a responsibility in reviewing many of the documents. So in that cases, I create a group of reviewers and I'll assign that group. It could be a 1 or 2 or 3 users within that particular group. And if any one of the reviewer provides a sign off, so that can be marked as an approved document. All right. So any one of the reviewer can do a review and provide his comments or approve the particular document. All right, and also gives the status bar, which also shows, I mean, how much percentage of reviews completed and how many documents have been reviewed. So there is a drop down over here. It just gives how many documents been reviewed, how many are commented, how many are closed. It's a kind of a thing. And we have a sign off where it could be a COO or who is responsible in order to provide this, or will be responsible in order to completing this particular report. So he'll be providing a sign off. Either he can approve it or he can reject it, and he can provide a comment on that. All right. So once this signer has provided a sign off, so then this particular report package will be logged and no further changes can be done by any of the user. All right. So that meaning, so it's a sign off has been provided by a signer, meaning so this annual report or any of the report is ready to publish to any of the parties. All right. So this is a report package life cycle. So we need to create a style sample first in order to create a report. So this style sample, it contains, we need to set the margins, the left and the right margins. I mean, how the header and the footer it should look like. Okay, and when you create all these doclets, so it will get the style sample of, it will get the design of this style sample. I mean, what we set in order to maintain the consistency of the total format of all the document. So we create the style sample and we create the doclets. We'll start the workflow process. and we can publish the report in Word, PDF, or PPT formats. Okay, now, so that's about the report package, and this is a management report. So management report is, as I told, as I said, so this is a hub for the supported Oracle EPM cloud services and OSC and ERP cloud services as well. So here it can integrate with ERP cloud, tax reporting, PCMCS, SBS cloud and on-premise, FCCS, and the planning. So as I said, so it just same like creating a financial reporting. So it just contains the grid charts, uh, text and the notes with multiple sources. So as I said, so we can create one particular report with multiple data sources. All right. So here are the list of the reports, which is supported with an MR. So there's a grid, chart, text, images, and the notes. The notes we'll deal with the next slide. Okay, now this is how it looks like, the creation of a grid within MR. So it just contains, now first of all, we need to select the data source from where we are creating this particular report. So within that data source, we are connected to the cube, and these are the dimensions within that cube. And this is the POV bar, and this is the column and the rows. So we can just drag down all these dimensions based on, what kind of report you want it. So here, we have just created a report based on the report by entities, and this is a final result or the preview of the particular grid what has been created. All right. Now I can make use of this particular report and MR in the report package as a reference document. All right. So this particular reference document will be in any one of the documents embedded within that. Okay, so that's about the MR. Now coming to the Smart View, as I said, the Smart View can integrate with other EPM Cloud applications and as well as HFM and OBIE, some other on-premise applications as well. So it just retrieves the data and it creates a report. And this report, as I said, we can have this particular Excel report as a reference document in the report package, and we can embed this particular report into a Word document in the report package. All right. So this is how a typical a report it looks like. So this all the data has been pulled from other data source, and I name this particular report, the name range of this particular report, and then I will embed this total balance sheet in the document wherever it is required to be embedded. And whenever there is a change in the POV or a change in the data with the refresh over here, when all these numbers get changed, so the report, where it has been embedded in the report in the document, even that data will also reflect the change data or a refresh data. And this variable is a main part. Many of the organizations will use it, and some organizations will not use it. But over here, variables are something like a static and the reference variable. So this concept of a variable is something, let's say, in the total 300-page document, so there could be a name of an ICICI bank, or it could be a name of the month or an year, which is used at several times in the whole document. Let's say that particular word has used some 100 times in the whole 300-page document. And also for the next iteration, for the next rollout, for the next quarter, this need to be changed from November to December, let's say. All right. Now again, so you have to get into the whole 300-page document and see where is this November, and then you change that November to December. So rather than that, you can have that particular month as a current month over here, and I can have a value over here as a November, and I can use this current month at all the places where it is used at the 100 places in the 300-page document. So for the next iteration, for the next month, what I'll do is I'll change this November, the value, change the value from November to December, and I say okay, and this will reflect at all the places where it has been used. All right. So that is a static variable where we provide a definite, a constant value so that it can be used anywhere. And also the main purpose of this static variable is used at by selecting a POV. So in an Excel based, or it could be an MR. So if you have this particular variable and I set a current year as an FY18, and I set this POV to this variable as a POV to the management report or an Excel report, So whenever I make a change over here from FY17 to FY18 or to the current year to FY20, then and I do a refresh, then all the data which has been pulling the data based on the POV. So when the POV changed to FY17 to FY20, now all the data will reflect or will be pulled for the FY20 year, and then the table data will get changed, and thereby wherever the table is being used in the document will also get changed. All right. So this is a very essential variable where it comes into the picture when there is a rollout to the next period or next year. A reference variable is something where you can pull that particular variable from the report. So whether it could be an Excel or it could be from the MR. So let's say, I mean, this is inventory balance sheet, this is the value, and this is the trend in dollars. All right, so now this has been referenced it to the cross-reference it to the reference variable. Now this value sits it over here. And whenever there is a change, let's say I have changed this particular static variable from FY17 to FY20, and there is a change in the Excel data, and these values changes, and thereby whatever the reference variable, the value associated with that will also get changed because this has been pulled from the data sheet in Excel or in MR. All right, so that is a reference variable where we can so let's say I can have this reference variable in the report package, and I want to see continuously and on a weekly basis, like what is a net revenue or a net profit. Okay, so now I keep on changing at a weekly basis, and now rather than getting into that particular MR and see or an Excel report and see what is the value, so I can have these as a variables over here, and I can see directly on the variable page, okay, this is the value for the current month or the current week, and this is the value for the previous week. All right. All right, coming to the notes, as I said, this is an advanced level of the management report. So it creates a grid, and there is a notes, and this notes is some kind of a text based on the POV. Okay, this is a POV based narrative text. Let's say now this is a report which is based on sales for some of this is an income tax. Okay, and this is a report based on some of the segment. Okay. Now let's say there's a segment like there's a sales on the TV, for example, a product. All right. So for this TV, I want to write some notes for this particular report, and I select rather than TV. I mean, I select a different product like a fridge. Okay, and I get these values, and I want to write notes only for that. So all these templates, I mean, I'll save it in the notes, and I can have a printout. I mean, based on what the POV have been selected. Or what kind of a product I have selected, and that particular notes which I have said in the template will appear and can be printed in the PDF formats. All right. So here in this example, I mean, there are two templates. So one is a pure, there's a notes for this particular grid, and there is a notes for the graph as well. All right, so like this you can create the template. So whenever you want to publish a small notes based on the POV, just want to see, I mean, how it's trending based on some major products, then you can have this notes template created. Okay, and this is the books. So as I told you, books is something where you can gather or group together all the management reports, books, or some of the documents from the report package, and you can print or view it in a single PDF format. So it's a kind of a mini narrative reporting kind of a thing where you can pull it, you can gather everything into one particular book, and then you see the view of, I mean, how it looks like. So you can create a table of content out of it, and you can play around with the POVs in the reports as well. So mainly, I mean, these books, it deals with the combination of all the reports, the management reports, I mean, what you have created. It just gathers everything, and you can also have the notes, and then, you can have a do a preview of all in the sequence, I mean, what you have selected, put it into your book, and then you can have a preview of that, and you print it in a PDF format. Well, next comes the disclosure management. So this is, as I said, for the regular reporting or static reporting, we use disclosure management. So this looks, I mean, same like a reporting, a package where it contains all the documents and everything, but it contains a different style where it's a combination of a Word document and Excel documents, where Excel, it deals with all the financial data, and the Word documents deals with the narrative content. All right. So as I said, so it's an XBRL taxonomy. So based on the business standards, I mean, what kind of a business that particular organization deal with. So they go with the standard of an SEC, or it could be an open taxonomy. As I said, there are open taxonomies like SEC jurisdictions, gap, where taxonomy is extendable. So you can make, or you can design your own taxonomy based on the business what you're doing. And some of them are the closed taxonomies, which are an IFRS standard. So these taxonomies cannot be extendable. You cannot make any changes to that. So you have to select the IFRS. It will be IFRS 9, IFRS 16, IFRS 17, based on the type of business you have and which standard which suits your style or the type of your business. Okay. And there is a concept also called as auto tagging. Auto tagging is something, so usually, I mean, when we select these taxonomies and we have all the Excel tables, and we relate or we map all these values into the different elements in the taxonomy. So there are some regions, I mean, where it contains several number of taggings. Let's say, I mean, 20,000 plus XBRL tags. When doing it manually, I mean, it will be a chaos, right? It takes a lot of time in order to tag all these 20,000 elements. Values into the 20,000 elements. So there is a concept called an auto tagging, where you can select the particular table and you design the particular table based on the design of the taxonomy, and you just assign or just map only directly to the table to the particular element, and all its respective elements will be auto tagged to the taxonomy, and you can publish that into XBRL or iXBRL format. So here it is. So we have a financial statement. It could be a Word or an Excel, and then we map it to the taxonomy, and taxonomy contains elements, context, units, and the footnotes. And this disclosure management, when it publish in an XML or XBRL or XBRL formats, or a HTML format as well. So this is an instant document created out of what we have mapped it to the taxonomy. So based on the taxonomy what you have selected, now we have this instant document, and we can publish this or send this instant document directly as soft copy to the filing department in order to get it filed. So, so this is the disclosure management, where we call in the report package, we call it as a report package, and disclosure management, we call it as a master document. So as I said, it contains the Word documents and then Excel. So Excel over here, over there in the report package, so one Excel workbook, it contains multiple reports, multiple worksheets with the different reports within that, and we can make use of those reports embedded into the documents. But over here in disclosure management, there should be only one sheet with only within one workbook. All right. So if it is a balance sheet, then there will be only balance sheet within the total workbook, so that that particular balance sheet will be tagged to the taxonomy. And then when we export or publish in XBRL or XBRL XML formats, then this is the format which is published in that particular report, and we can send that soft copy to the filing department for the filing. All right. So that end overview of narrative reporting. Now it's time